They're talking about the NFL from a different perspective. Game recaps, stats, big plays, predictions, and much more. You're listening to the B&E Podcast with Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the inaugural episode of the B&E Podcast. We'll be on your airways every week, twice a week, with everything you need to know about the NFL. We are days away from week one, but first, Ed, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ed Donaldson. I'm 32 years old, originally from Maryland, now live in Southern California desert area. Big fan of football, NFL, a little bit of college, also like basketball, NBA, and combat sports, mixed martial arts, and boxing. Really happy to be doing this show with Brandon here. I love football. I'm going to be talking about it a lot with you guys. I'm not a big X and O guy, so don't expect me to break down a play like Shannon Sharp or somebody like that. But you get a casual take from me, but my opinion is always going to be educated. And I'm looking forward to having you guys listen to the show. Brandon, how about you?
Tell us about yourself. Same here. I'm not the X and O's guy myself either. I'm 31, originally from Maryland as well, live in Texas now. Big football fan, Ravens fan. I got love for my dad's Giants as well. There's some teams that I kind of dislike, but that's a different story for a different day.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, I'm a big basketball fan as well as baseball as well, but my first love is football. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And Ed and I went to high school together. We both went to Lackey, which will, later on in the season, we'll have a couple of our classmates on here, hopefully to get their input as well. Some Eagles fans, some Cowboys fans, and Titans fans, from what I understand, the people that we're hoping to have on. So hopefully you all will enjoy what we have to put out for you. And if not, let us know. All right. So with that being said, it's time for our opening drive. Russell Wilson, he's entering the 2022 season with a new team and a new contract. The Broncos signed Wilson to a 5-year extension last week worth $245 million. $165 million of that is guaranteed. Former Eagles offensive tackle Jason Peters has signed with the Cowboys on Monday. Dallas is thin on offensive linemen after losing Tyron Smith early in the preseason. Peters is 40 years old, and rookie Tyler Smith will start now at left tackle. The Cardinals, they're showing financial love to safety Jalen Thompson. He has a new extension worth up to $40 million. Thompson is a starter alongside All-Pro Budda Baker. The 2019 supplemental draft pick is now locked down with the Cardinals through 2025. And linebacker Harold Landry of the Titans has torn his ACL. He just recently signed a 5-year extension for $87.5 million. There's a new assistant coach in DC. The Commanders have named former defensive end Ryan Kerrigan as the new assistant defensive line coach. He finished with 95.5 sacks in 10 seasons with the Commanders. Kerrigan recently retired back in July. So the Super Bowl champions will unveil their championship banner on Thursday. The Bills will travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams at SoFi. Both rosters look about the same, but they each lost their offensive coordinators. Ed, what are your thoughts on this contest?
I think this has potential to be game of the week. I like both teams a lot. I think it's going to be more of a high-scoring game. Defense is going to take a little bit of time to get adjusted to. Both offenses are explosive. I think the addition of Allen Robinson for the Rams is going to play a good part in their passing attack. It's going to take some pressure off Cooper Kupp. People won't be able to try to double team him if Cooper Kupp gets going. They get Cam Akers back. He had I believe it was Achilles injury early last season. He didn't play at all until the playoffs. And I think a training camp where he's healthy instead of focusing on rehab and stuff like that will be good and beneficial for him going forward. And they still got Darrell Henderson. I'm leaning towards the Rams. At first, I was leaning towards the Bills, but I just think the Rams have a better team right now. And but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. What are your thoughts on the contest?
Same here. We look at their records from last year. The Rams were 12-5, and the Bills were 11-6. Both were division winners. Both dominated most of their games that they won. Flash forward to this year, again, around the same points you mentioned. Allen Robinson coming over to the Rams. They did lose Von Miller, went over to the Bills, so he'll have a little bit of insight on how things go over there. I'm hearing that Matthew Stafford is okay and good to go for Thursday night, so hopefully we'll get to see him full strength. I was as well leaning towards the Bills early in the preseason and late offseason, but I am I think I'm going to go with the Rams as of right now. We do still have a couple more days before this game kicks off, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to see both of these teams, especially with the Bills. The Rams lost their offensive coordinator as well, but we know Sean McVay calls the plays out there. Brian Daboll was a big part of, at least out of Bills camp, was a big part of Josh Allen's development since he came to the league in 2019. So this will be his first season without him. We know that Josh Allen is a veteran. He was an MVP candidate last year, Pro Bowler year in and year out. He's been deep in the playoffs. We can go on and on about this guy, but to see how the offense may shape up a little bit different will be very interesting to see come Thursday night.
Yeah, you're right. The Rams did lose Von Miller to the Bills. They picked up Bobby Wagner, and
Yes.
I think I heard that he's already a captain for the defense and for the team. So I think he'll be a good addition to them, going along with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, other guys they got on defense. I do think quarterback-wise that Josh Allen is the better of the quarterbacks between him and Stafford. But yeah, I just have a feeling right now that the Rams will just gel better at first and they'll win this game.
Sorry, Buffalo also drafted, was it James Cook, I believe?
Yes, running back.
So it's also, one big thing about them last year was they didn't really run the ball, obviously, because they had Josh Allen. I believe Singletary was still there, if I'm not mistaken. That's the previous, was it Derek Singletary? I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway,
Yeah, Devin Singletary.
Devin, there we go. Thank you. So they're expecting them to run the ball a little bit more. So again, with the new offensive coordinator and the addition of a good running back, I believe he played in Georgia last year. We'll see how that will fare as well.
And I want to mention one more thing. But I do give the Bills a chance. I think if Josh Allen uses his legs a lot too, I think I'll switch my mind up. But for right now, I'm taking with the Rams. But let's look forward to the next game. Baker Mayfield is set to face his former team, the Cleveland Browns, but this time he'll be the main man with the Panthers. Which team do you think has an edge going in this?
I got to go with the Panthers early on because, Baker Mayfield was there for 4 years. He knows the ins and outs of the building. He knows the coaching staff. He knows the receivers there, the defense. He practiced against them every day and throughout the week and in training camp in years past. So you talk about the Cleveland Browns from their perspective, they only face the Panthers every 4 years because it's AFC, NFC.
Yeah.
It's not like they know Carolina very well besides what they have on film right now. Yes, they do know the quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Obviously, he was in their building, so Kevin Stefanski knows him like the back of his hand. But I would have to say, all in all, the Panthers have the edge. And as well, we know that Jacoby Brissett is going to get the start at quarterback for Cleveland after the Deshaun Watson suspension. Even if Deshaun was playing in this game, I still would probably give it to Carolina because I think it's going to take a little time for that camaraderie and all that stuff that develops with the receivers, the offensive line, and the coaches with the quarterback as well. So what are your thoughts on who has the edge in this game?
I'm still on a fence. I think a wind blow a little bit. I might lean toward the Panthers like you, like all the things you said. Baker will know the Browns pretty well, but the Browns will know Baker pretty well. But I think Christian McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, he'll be MVP-like, in my opinion, if he can just stay healthy.
True.
They still got DJ Moore, who's a really good wide receiver. So I think Baker has a chip on his shoulder, and I know he's going to be super motivated. He'll treat this like the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I'm wondering if there'll be any emotions come out or any antics, kind of like when forgot the guy's name. Hugh Jackson went over to Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
And Baker Mayfield's kind of animated that game towards him. So I wonder if we'll see any theatrics from him in this game. I'm on a fence though, man. Cleveland, I think Cleveland Browns are a really solid team. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, there aren't no slouches. They got Amari Cooper over from Dallas. Jacoby Brissett's not a bad quarterback. He's like more of a game manager, reliable backup. So I don't think he'll put them in a position to lose a game. And Cleveland's defense, Myles Garrett, I don't think he's practicing right now, but I don't think they're saying he'll be any issues to start the game going forward. I think he'll cause some trouble for Baker Mayfield, and they'll also be motivated to, play Baker. I don't think they want to lose him either. But right now, a slight edge over to the Panthers like you did.
Okay. Sounds good. So the defending AFC champions will open their season at home on Sunday. They host their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're just getting breaking news on this. The Steelers just announced that Mitch Trubisky will start at quarterback in this game, and that'll be the first new starter for the team since 2004, of course, when Big Ben has been the guy under center for all them years. While Joe Burrow, he enters the third season with the Bengals. What should we expect from this game?
I think this will be a close game in the beginning. I think the Pittsburgh defense will come out the gate and be really good. So I think they'll stop Joe Burrow from putting up too much damage on them in the beginning. But I think by halftime, the Bengals will have enough to stop the Steelers. I like Trubisky, but I don't think he's the future for the Steelers. Hopefully he can, play well enough to play the whole year. But I think Kenny Pickett, if Trubisky plays bad, I think they'll put Kenny Pickett in and let his reign start in Pittsburgh land. But I'm going to go with the Bengals right now. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow under center. They got Hayden Hurst at tight end. I think he might have a good year if the defenses focus on T. Higgins and Jamar Chase a lot. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think they'll take over by halftime and win the game. What about you? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, this is old-fashioned AFC North smash mouth football. We love these games in our division. Generally, it goes to the home team. So the Bengals are looking like they should, have reason to win this, but it does happen once or twice a year where the road team goes in and wins in our division. Usually these games are close. Again, they're physical. We're talking about Mitch Trubisky. I wouldn't, if I was Mike Tomlin, I think I'd go with the rookie. I think nowadays, a lot of rookies start. And even though he was like, a lot of people heading into the draft was like, okay, none of these quarterbacks are first round worthy. Either way, they drafted in the first round. Usually first round quarterbacks don't sit for long. So like you said, it is a possibility that Kenny Pickett will start eventually, especially if it's not looking good for them within a couple weeks into the season. We know what Joe Burrow is going to do out there. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, all those guys. They did lose a tight end, but I believe they got Hayden Hurst as well in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
They still had the running backs, Joe Mixon out there. So I would give the edge to Cincinnati. I just hope that they don't come out and lay too much of an egg as far as like a Super Bowl hangover. A lot of people always talk about that for the ones that lose in the Super Bowl. But, these guys, they definitely, it's not a lot of changes on offense for sure, besides the tight end. Oh, they did bring in some linemen as well. Joe Burrow got pretty beat up last year, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So besides that, we talk about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have years of camaraderie together. And the last couple of years, him getting used to the other guys out there. And we've seen the type of stats that they put up. I'm not sure that Pittsburgh's offense can keep up with that myself, besides Najee Harris running the ball. If they want to play keep away, they could probably do that. Again, I just don't trust Mitch Trubisky out there. They do have a good young tight end heading into his second year, Freiermuth, I believe his name is. And the Pittsburgh defense, they are returning TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And, they'll do their thing, but I'm not sure that they can slow down Cincinnati if they get going. So that's where I would give the edge to Cincinnati in this one.
All right. I got you. So your Ravens, they're going to travel to New York this week in the Battle of the Jets. Head coach Robert Saleh said they worked out Zach Wilson on Monday. There's a chance he starts. But if not, former Raven Joe Flacco will be the man under center against Lamar Jackson. Baltimore has lost 6 games in a row to close out last season. But how much confidence do you have in your team on Sunday, Brandon?
I have a lot of confidence right now. Whether it's Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco, I think that we stand, a good chance across the board. You put our starters against their starters at each position, just about. We pretty much, I think we got the edge. Offense, defense, special teams, even down to the coach. Our guy is entering his 14th or 15th season as coach, and Robert Saleh is entering his second. All that plays a factor into it. But when it comes down to it, I think that the Jets are still in the kind of a rebuild mode. They do have some very good young pieces. I do like Zach Wilson. I do like the rookie running back, Brees Hall, I believe his name is, in the second round. And I think that's a squad with Elijah Moore, right? That you always don't. Yeah. I think, I still feel like they should have done more to help Zach Wilson over the offseason, get him some more targets. I know they were in the Tyreek Hill sweepstakes, but what's done is done with that. But yeah, I'm very confident in our team. We did have Ronnie Stanley back at practice on Monday. We don't know if he's going to start. Most of our other starters are back. Gus Edwards on the PUP list. Justice Hill is back. So yeah, I think that, plus Lamar Jackson, he didn't play all preseason, so he should be healthy heading into this one. I feel pretty good. How do you feel about these squads?
I think the Ravens, I think you guys will pull it out. My only concern is, as you mentioned, guys coming back like Stanley's health, if guys are going to be healthy. I do think Lamar Jackson's going to come out the gate running. I think he has a point to prove if they don't get a contract done by before the regular season starts. He's going to have a point to prove, like, y'all better pay me this money because look what I'm doing on this field right now. Yep. I think he's going to have like another MVP-like year as long as he can stay healthy. He's going to put the team on his back and do some things. I think so. I think you guys will take care of the Jets. But I do think the Jets will be better than they were last year. I think it'll be a closer game, and they're going to put up some fight. Might scare y'all for a little bit, but in the end, y'all should win the game. More longevity with the coach, should be more chemistry with the team. So I think you guys win.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. This is the B&E Podcast. Ed's Commanders, they are preparing for the season opener at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Main storyline in this contest is Doug Peterson is now calling the shots for the Jags, while his former quarterback Carson Wentz is the new signal caller in DC. Is this a trap game for your team, Ed?
Oh man, I don't know, man. The spread right now, Commanders are the 3.5 point favorite to win, but it's just so many uncertainties. Mainly Carson Wentz, if he can play the best of his abilities. I forgot about this, that the last team he lost to was the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm kind of hoping he's coming in with fire, like, okay, this team beat me and when I had the potential to make the playoffs last year. So I want to get some payback. And he has some familiarity with Doug Peterson. So maybe he'll be kind of used to what he's seen out there on the defensive end. But at the same time, Doug Peterson knows Carson Wentz, so he'll probably know how to expose his weaknesses. I think overall, the Commanders have a better team. So I'm sticking with the Commanders, but Trevor Lawrence, I'm kind of worried that with Doug Peterson, he'll make a leap and he'll just have more talent. But I just think as long as we can control the line of scrimmage, we dominate the line of scrimmage from both sides, offense and defense, we can get some pressure on Lawrence and make sure they don't go crazy in the run game. And we can give Carson Wentz some time to throw the ball and open up holes for Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick. We can win this game. So yes, it does look like a trap game, but the Jaguars, I think they're going to be better than they were last year, but Commanders should win, hopefully. Praying to God. What about you?
I agree on the terms of the roster. I think that you all have the better roster. A lot of people thought last year y'all were a quarterback away from making some noise in that NFC East division that's kind of wide open. That definitely was last year, and you still could kind of say, because Philly has a lot of pieces on paper and Dallas has lost some pieces. Free agency, we know the Giants aren't much of anything every year. I really like the Jacksonville Jaguars this year heading into 2022. Obviously, we've talked about that before in our prep, that I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to make a big jump from year one to year two. He played the entire season. The only thing that really worries me about quarterbacks going from 1 to 2 is that change in offensive coordinator and or head coach, offensive philosophy, whatever you want to call it. He does welcome back his running back that he played college football with, Travis Etienne, I believe. They both played at Clemson. They did add Christian Kirk in free agency.
Yeah.
So I think that with the addition, as well as the number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker on defense as well, I think that they will definitely make some noise this year. I would go with them right now. I would not be surprised if y'all win. But yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about trap games, this could be a trap game based off last year's record versus, obviously they were the number 1 the worst team in football last year by record.
Yeah.
You all were third in the division. So yeah, this could be a trap game. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way. I think I'm going to lean towards Jacksonville right now. But yeah, it should be a close game for sure. I don't think either team will blow the other one out. I think it'll start a little slow for both teams as well.
Hopefully we can get the lead. I'm sorry, Cody. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can get the lead to start. We can play with the lead.
Okay.
And they did also get Brandon Scherf, our best guard. He went over there in the offseason, so their line should be a little bit improved to him as well. But hopefully we can play with the lead and not be trailing, trying to fight back.
Yeah, that's always good. And then y'all also have Chase Young is out for the first 4 games.
Yeah.
So just a tad bit thin on the defensive line as far as talent goes. I mean, we know that you all have 4 first-rounders when they're all starting on that defensive line.
Yeah.
As well. It's kind of sucks that obviously what happened with Brian Robinson on all terms of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we was expecting him to make some noise as a rookie. So hopefully he gets back soon enough. I know the running back situation is a little bit concerning for some Commanders fans with who's the other guy that was
Antonio
there?
Gibson.
Yeah, I know he had some fumble issues, I believe.
Yeah. So the AFC West is loaded this year. We'll see 2 of the teams in action against each other Sunday afternoon as the Raiders play the Chargers in LA. Did either team do enough in the offseason to put some pressure on the Chiefs? And who do you think will win this game?
Man, I hope so. I hope that they did enough in all season. We talk about Devontae Adams. We talk about Khalil Mack coming over to the Chargers. Just 2 big names on both of the teams. Raiders and Chargers. It's in Los Angeles. I'm going to go with the Raiders. The Chargers were so up and down last year. So, I mean, the Raiders were kind of too, but I think that the Raiders, a lot of people are saying that they could go very far this year. I don't know. I would say more than likely to the playoffs, but I don't know how deep in the playoffs. They still have some concerns on my end. But the Chiefs, I mean, what they have 6 straight AFC West championships, 4 straight times hosting the AFC championship. They're on a different level than all 3 of these teams in this division, no matter what. Even the Denver Broncos adding in Russell Wilson. I think they will put some pressure on both of these teams for sure. I'm not too sure about Denver. I think it will take some time with Russell Wilson getting acclimated out there to that new offense, and they have a new coach as well. But I believe that both teams will put some pressure on the Chiefs. I still have the Chiefs winning the AFC West. I don't like the Chiefs, but I do respect them. So, yeah, what are your thoughts about the AFC West as well as this game?
I think both teams did something to put some pressure on the Chiefs. I think Khalil Mack for the Chargers is going to be a real nice addition for them. And the Raiders adding Devontae Adams will give them more firepower on offense, so it'll be more explosive. I think it'll benefit Josh Jacobs as well in the run game. So, I think they'll both put pressure on the Chiefs. I'm kind of going with you right now. I think the Chiefs I think they're going to start out a little slow, just how they figure out who's going to be the number 1 receiver now that Tyreek's gone. But I think eventually they'll figure it out, and by the end of the season, they'll be on top of the AFC West. Now, as far as this game, Raiders and Chargers, I think this has potential to be game of the week too. I'm leaning toward the Chargers right now. I think Khalil Mack, along with Joey Bosa,
I believe.
I think those 2 are going to wreak havoc in the backfield. And the Chargers getting Derwin James back. Hopefully he can stay healthy, because when he's healthy, he's like a top 3, top 5 safety out there.
Definitely.
So I'm going to go with the Chargers right now. I think Justin Herbert, another year in, he's going to take another leap. I think he's also sneaky. Like, he can run and can gash you if you forget about him out there. So I think he's going to make more plays throwing the ball, and he'll make some plays running the ball, which will lead to a win for the Chargers.
And I do want to see Austin Eckler. He was my pick for was it Offensive Player of the Year heading into this year. He had just over 900 yards rushing last year, I believe 12 touchdowns on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this guy, and I was surprised because I really thought that we don't hear a lot about him out there, but I really thought that he had over 1,000 yards rushing at least once before in his career.
Yeah.
And turns out he didn't. So, I'm definitely hyped on seeing him play. I always have liked their receivers out there in Los Angeles as well. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan too, but I think the Raiders will have just enough to slide past them. Like you said, this could be game of the week as well. I believe very high scoring. It's, we expect both offenses to be high powered this year, put up a lot of points, and their defenses, not necessarily against each other in this game, but their defenses should be able to hold other teams as well down the stretch. This game, Vegas and the Los Angeles Chargers, that's Sunday afternoon, 4:25 Eastern time. All right, so Joe Buck and Troy Aikman won't be the only ones making a debut on ESPN's Monday Night Football. Veteran quarterback Russell Wilson is making his Broncos debut against, of all teams, his former squad, the Seattle Seahawks. To make matters worse, it's up in Seattle. Will it be a shootout, low-scoring game? What's your outlook, Ed?
I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Broncos are going to beat the hell out of the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to be probably the worst team in football. And I think Russell Wilson's going to come in there. I think most people are going to be classy and, appreciate him for what he did, getting him to the Super Bowl 2 times in the Super Bowl ring. I think you'll hear some boos as well. And I think Russell Wilson is just going to be like, look what you left behind or look what you lost, and just go crazy on him. So I think it's going to be a blowout. I think Denver wins easily, like 30-10, something along those lines. What about you? How you feel about this?
Yeah, I agree. I believe it's going to be a blowout out there. Fans are going to be leaving the stadium early. He will get some boos, like you said. Russell Wilson's very loved out there in the Pacific Northwest, but with the way things went down, as far as him giving 4 teams, was that two off seasons ago, whatever, and then of course the trade this past off season. Either way, you're going to have some disgruntled fans out there. It's definitely a lot of questions on the Seattle side of the field. The quarterbacks, neither of those guys really threaten me, or I would, feel threatened if I was to play them. Drew Lock or was it Geno Smith out there? I think besides the receivers, they pretty much, it's questions on offense and defense.
Okay, let's go move over to NFC South. For the first time since 2006, the Saints would be without Sean Payton on the sidelines. But Jameis Winston is back under center for New Orleans, while Marcus Mariota is the new starting quarterback in Atlanta. Winston was 5-2 as a starter last year before suffering that season-ending knee injury. Falcons and Saints are preparing for battle on Sunday. Which team do you think is the biggest threat to the Bucs in NFC South, and who do you have winning this game?
I have the Saints winning this game. I don't think this will be very close either, but I think that the Saints are also a bigger threat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they've beaten them in every regular season game with Tom Brady under center the last 2 years, besides Tampa Bay beat them in the playoffs the first season, if I'm not mistaken.
With Tom Brady and Drew?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I definitely have the Saints as a bigger threat. I'm not a big Jameis Winston fan, but a lot of people do bring up the point. He was 5-2 last year when he went out. He was playing decent. I can't get over the 30 interceptions he had with his time in Tampa Bay. Obviously, that was in the past, but still. They bring in Jarvis Landry at wide receiver. Mike Thomas is back. Alvin Kamara is still there. Mark Ingram is still there. And the defense is pretty stout as well. I kind of miss Sean Payton, and I'll miss him on the sidelines. But they kept, the coaching staff intact and just moved up Dennis Allen from defense coordinator to head coach. I hope that doesn't take a toll on the defense, because sometimes when you lose your defensive coordinator, even though he's gone up to head coach, it does. Offensive or defensive coordinator, they get promoted in the building. It's not the same on either side of the field in that perspective. But who do you have in this game and could possibly put some pressure on the Bucs?
I got the Saints winning too. I think it'll be closer than people expect. I think the Falcons have been getting a little better each year in this rebuild that they're doing. Now that they got rid of Matt Ryan, he got sent over to the Colts. I think Marcus Mariota, he's not going to lead them to the playoffs or anything like that, but I think he's going to keep them competitive. He might not be the best throwing a ball, but he can make some plays with his legs. So I expect him to be a dual threat. But I just think Jameis Winston overall is a better quarterback, and the Saints still a better team, have a little bit more weapons, like you said. Mike Thomas, hopefully he can come back and stay healthy. And I just think as long as Alvin Kamara's there, we still got to see if he'll get into any trouble with the issues he got into at the Pro Bowl. But if he doesn't get suspended, then they should be good. I think they are, compared to the Falcons, I think they are the biggest threat to the Bucs. But I want to ask you this: do you think the Panthers, with Baker Mayfield and Christian McCaffrey, you think they'll make a threat at all?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think the Panthers stand a chance on Sunday, but no, I don't think. No. I mean, if I had to pick between the three of the NFC South, it'd be New Orleans.
I got you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay.
Saints and Falcons you can catch on Sunday afternoon as a 1:00 Eastern time kickoff from Atlanta. And some of the other games in week 1, they include San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears, Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. We have an AFC South matchup in Houston as the Texans host the Indianapolis Colts. An AFC East matchup, New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. The New York Giants will travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Kansas City Chiefs will take the field against the Arizona Cardinals. Green Bay Packers will battle their NFC North division rival Minnesota Vikings, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in Jerry World against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. So which one of these games are you looking most forward to?
I'm going to be honest with you. There's a few games I'm interested in seeing, starting with San Fran against Chicago. Trey Lance, his first time start the season anyway, against Justin Fields. These guys got some stuff to prove, so I'm interested to see how that game would turn out. KC versus Arizona, Patrick Mahomes versus Kyler Murray. That should be an entertaining game, I'm thinking. I want to see how KC, Chiefs, and Mahomes do. Who's going to become the alpha receiver? We know Travis Kelce will probably get a lot of the shares just in the passing game, but I want to see who's going to be the receiver that comes out and be number one. I'm going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster, but we'll never know. Maybe McCole Hardman will turn into the next Tyreek. Green Bay, Minnesota, just a rivalry. Kirk versus Aaron. Also, I want to see how those receivers look. And Tampa Bay, Dallas. Last year, that was a game of. You could argue that was game of the year. Great way to start the season. I wonder if they can repeat that, make a great game, entertaining game. What about you? Which one of these games are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah, I have multiple games as well. Going to that Green Bay and Minnesota game. Of course, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I want to see how he adjusts to life without Devontae Adams. And Minnesota welcomes in the new head coach. They still have the all-pro running back up there in Cook and the receivers out there. And then they've always had a stout defense. So will Minnesota have enough to take a lead in their division and, start the season 1-0? And then New York Giants and Tennessee Titans. Tennessee lost both of their top receivers.
That's right.
Last year,
that's right.
Even though I know they were on and off the field throughout the season. I want to see how Ryan Tannehill responds from that playoff loss. They lost in the divisional round after being the 1 seed. And how does Brian Daboll fix Daniel Jones at quarterback? Is he able to fix him? Are they able to do anything on offense besides the dismal performances we saw all last year with them? And then as well, going to that Tampa Bay Dallas game, Dallas lost Amari Cooper. Yeah. They also lost Randy Gregory as well. And then Tampa Bay, they welcome in Julio Jones and pretty much all their starters back, except for, a couple of injuries on the offensive line and a retirement. I believe the left guard retired. And, a lot of talk last couple of weeks been, where's Tom Brady been? He missed 14 days, something like that, a training camp. That's a big storyline heading into this game. A lot of Cowboys fans thought that they should have won this game last year.
Yep, should have, could have, would have.
So we'll see what they get out of this game down in Dallas on Sunday night.
I got you. I'm looking forward to the New England Miami game too. I want to see how Tua looks with Tyreek and another year of Jalen Waddle. Hopefully he can play well. I think they can crush New England if he does play well, but we'll see how that game goes.
Miami normally plays them well down in South Beach.
Yeah.
Even when Tom Brady was there, they generally have played them well down there.
There always seems to be an upset in week one. Who's your upset of the week?
My upset pick of the week, I'm going to go with Houston Texans at home over the Indianapolis Colts. I know Matt Ryan is there now. I really haven't trusted Matt Ryan for the last couple of years. And every year we go into a season with Indianapolis thinking they're going to do so good. And yes, they do have a lot of pieces on offense and defense. I mean, led by the leading rusher last year, Jonathan Taylor. I just think this Houston Texans team is going into this game, into this season, thinking that a lot of people are just picking them not to do anything. They have a good quarterback in Davis Mills. He was one of the better draft picks last year, even though he was a third rounder. I mean, he did play right up there with the other guys that started last year, the 5 first rounders. So they don't have a lot of big names on all across the field, but they do have Davis Mills and they do have a good veteran head coach in Lovie Smith. Now, I think we'll have these guys fired up and ready to go in week one in their house down in Houston. What about yourself?
I'm going to go with the Giants over Tennessee. I think Saquon coming back, he's going to have a point to prove. I know he did an interview on the Pivot podcast, and he was talking about people starting to doubt him now. And he was like, before the injuries, I was, putting up these type of numbers. So I think he has a chip on his shoulder. This is like make it or break it for Daniel Jones, man. So if he doesn't play well, they're going to move on from him. So I think he is going to play well. And I think the Giants are going to upset Tennessee. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah. I read, I'm not a big Titans fan either, especially
yeah.
The
you're
rivalry.
Not really. I wonder why that is.
The rivalry against our team. And, Mike Vrabel punked John Harbaugh a couple years ago or whatever.
He punked him.
Well, remember they got in that argument in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And it was like Harbaugh was mouthing at him and they both was mouthing. Like, he's like, Mike Vrabel's like this big, he's probably like 6'2" probably. And Harbaugh's probably in his 5'6", 5'7". He was like staring down at him. But yeah, I think that was the game in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. It was either in Tennessee. No, I think it was in Baltimore when they stood on the logo in the middle of the field during pregame or something like that. But either way,
it was regular season, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some bad blood between our teams, and it has been for several years. But it's we used to be in the same division with them long time ago. Let's put it this way: there's no love lost between us.
Got you. Enjoy week one, everyone.
You've been listening to the latest episode of the B&E Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Podcast B&E.